What's up, everybody? BigSweetC here with you. Got a special little video for you. Today I want to continue talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. One fight in particular, and if you haven't heard about it, it's probably the toughest fight in the game. It's the Simon fight. It is absolutely amazing, and I've heard a lot of stuff from a lot of different people. This is a bullshit fight. This is a cheating fight. This is an unfair fight. This is a terrible fight. This is a fun fight. This is an amazing fight. This is the best fight of all time. And in my opinion, I actually think this is probably the best part of the game. Because as I've always said, the gameplay itself, I think, is the best aspect of Expedition 33. I think it's what they spent the most time on. I feel like it's what they have the most fleshed out, and I think it's the reason why I enjoyed the game so much, because I was kind of disappointed with the story at the end. However, this boss fight in particular is one of the best boss fights I've probably ever encountered in all of my gaming experience. It is absolutely amazing from start to finish, and it got me thinking, what exactly makes a good boss fight, right? And so that's kind of what I want to talk on. But in case you haven't come across this fight yet, I'll throw in a few tips and tricks in my experience what helped me beat this guy. First and foremost, I went with the 3-2 format, meaning I had my main party as 3 members. I had my secondary party as 2. Now, I've seen some people suggest doing it the other way. And we'll get into a little bit why you would want 3 people at the end as opposed to right at the beginning. But it was easier for me with the 3 at first and then the 2 backups. But all of my characters were 90 plus. I suggest at least your first 3, your main characters, at 90 to 95 at the bare minimum. Because this dude was tough, and it was pretty much every time he hit me, it was a one-shot kill. So there are a few pictos that I do recommend that were a necessity for me. But beginning with the equipped pictos, doesn't matter really which ones they are. Preferably something that takes a lot of picto juice, if you will, so you don't have to worry about using that in your other pictos. But basically, what I went with is anything that gave me the most speed and the most critical hit percentage. Those were the ones that I equipped, so I'd get those bonuses. In terms of other pictos that I equipped, obviously Painted Power is a necessity. I went with all 3 augmented counters and everything that I had that increased my gradient charge meter. That is going to be probably your best attack is the gradient charges, specifically Mael's Gommage attack. Now there's a few others. The Minoko's Bell Drop is a good one. And then if you happen to have Sael in your party and you can use her Twilight attacks a lot, any of the Foretell that you consume, you can use her, I believe it's called Endbringer or Darkbringer or something to that effect. Her level 3 gradient charge is fantastic for a late fight finish. Now, because she was in my main 3, I didn't particularly use that a whole lot, maybe once or twice if I can remember. But for the most part, I stuck to Gommage out of Mael. And so to go along with the other pictos, the other one that I would recommend, kind of a necessity, is Cheater, because it gives you the opportunity to attack twice in a row. Now, the downfall of Cheater is it does use a gradient attack as one of those attacks, so it's not like you can put 3 together. But with the 2 attacks every time, I was able to put Mael into Virtuose stance and then hit him with that level 3 gradient attack. And so those were really the biggest ones. Some other sides that helped a lot were teamwork was good, because as long as you're in a team, you're always doing twice as much damage. And then I can't remember exactly what it's called off the top of my head, but there's one that brings you back to life. There's 2 actually. There's one where it allows you to survive a killing blow 1 time, and then there's the other that brings you back once, back to life once you die, once per round. So now there is technically 3 aspects of the fight, but it's broken up into 2 parts. The first part is fairly simple. It's a good boss fight. It allows you to kind of get to know the moves that Simon has, and kind of prepare you for what's going forward. The benefit of it is if you do use up any of your death returns, then in the second part of the fight you get those back because it's technically a second fight. So it does help out. But those were the big ones: the painted power, the augmented counters, and whatever it is that you have, whether it's charging counter, whether it's charging break, whether it's charging critical, anything that can increase your chances to build up that gradient charge bar, because those are going to be your best attacks throughout this fight. Now the way that I went about this is I had Looney start, and then basically I had Mael go. I like Sael because she has the life drain if you really need it. Most of the time he's going to hit you and kill you in one shot, so you don't really get a chance to recuperate. But in case you ever do, Sael's good to have because she can use her harvest ability to heal everyone. So that's kind of how I went about it. But once you get into that second round, the attacks start coming faster. They start coming harder, and there's a lot more of them. So just be mindful. This fight is going to take a lot of patience and a lot of practice. It took me about 2 hours of steady attempts to finally bring this guy down, and I did all sorts of different combinations of team members, and again, sometimes I had 2 in my first party, 3 in my second, but really this is the party that was able to take him down for me. Was Sael, Looney, and Mael in my front party, and then Verso and Minoko in my second. Basically, I would start with Looney because she has the 2 attacks. I would hit him with ice to slow him down. The one thing that really gets you into trouble is later in the fight, he starts doing a couple of attacks in a row, and if he happens to take one of your characters down and then gets to go again, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to eliminate that dead player from the fight. He's going to erase them from the canvas. So you don't want to give him those back-to-back opportunities. Hence the reason why you continue to put the ice slow on him with Looney, and then I would hit him with the fire attack to create some burn status on him. That way I could then turn around and use Mael's attack to put her into virtuo stance before I hit him with either something to build the gradient charge or her gradient attack, Gommage, in the end. And I kind of continued through this back-to-back moments, attacks through the entire fight, and it really did kind of make it easy. But again, the defense is probably going to be your best friend. You're going to really want to practice those parries. Dodging is okay, but the parries are going to come in handy because he's got so much health that if you don't get those parry attacks, this is going to be a very long fight, and the longer you're in this fight, the better chance he has of taking you down. So, and again, counterattacks build that gradient charge bar, and that's the key to what you want to do. And again, it's just going to take a lot of practice. Now I'm playing on Expedition difficulty. I am not. This is not on Expert by no means. But if you have to, don't be afraid to turn it down to story mode. This is a tough fight, and you get that trophy or achievement either way. So there's no no get good from me. I'm a Dark Souls fan, but I'm not a Dark Souls douchebag. So you got to do what you got to do to take this guy down, and he's tough. He's very tough. But again, with a little bit of patience and a lot of bit of practice, I think anybody can do it. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. But kind of back to what I wanted to talk about in this video is, what makes this a good boss fight. And plain and simple, it's just fun to do. And that's really all you can ask for in gameplay. I've said from the beginning, and even in my review and earlier in this video, the gameplay of Expedition 33 is easily the best aspect of this game. The ability to parry and counter on parries, dodge, was a great little framework that they added to a turn-based strategy video game, which makes me completely confused why it hasn't been done before, outside of the ability to block and maybe get a bonus attack in like Super Mario RPG from way back in the day. But there's a lot more to it than that. And I was trying to think of some of my other favorite fights. Weiss from Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission, Sephiroth's fight from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You've got the Consort Radahn and Melania from Elden Ring. You've got Artorias from Dark Souls 1, which that actually, this is clearly an homage to Artorias. They have the same stance. They have he's carrying the Moonlight Greatsword. So this is definitely the closest thing to Dark Souls in this game, which I thought was kind of cool. But they all kind of seem to have kind of one thing and a few things in common. First and foremost is the actual fight itself. There's a few things. Is it fair? Is it a lot of bullshit? Is there a lot of luck involved? And this one does have its, it does have a few bullshit moments. There's one later in the round where he just eliminates everybody in your party, and if you don't have your backup team, then you're done. But for the most part, there's really no moves that you can't parry or counter or dodge if you just put the practice in. And so it does get tougher as you go along. In the first round, it's basically one hit per attack, and then the second he adds like a follow-up attack, and so it's 2 swipes for every swipe. And then in the third part, it's 3 swipes for every swipe. So it does get intense. But it's again, it's very you can kind of tell what's coming. And as long as you kind of as long as you're paying attention, and as long as you're keeping calm and you're not freaking out with these attacks, they're parryable. They're very easily parryable if you're if you're paying attention and you're practiced up and you're ready to go. Now, as for the luck part, there is a little bit of luck to it. Absolutely, there was one move in particular, and I can't remember what the name of it, Shining Light or something to that effect. But there was one move in particular that I just wasn't good at defending against, and so the luck part comes in when he starts not using it. There's going to be some attacks that are harder to defend than others, and as long as he doesn't do those attacks more often than not, that luck part's going to kind of help you out in the end. But for the most part, again, he does foreshadow a lot of his attacks. And a few of them are tough, and they're going to kill you in probably one shot. But again, just keep calm, keep carrying on. And so the fight itself, is not a whole lot of bullshit. It's actually very contrived and very focused and just difficult. Another part of what I like about it is the lore behind the story. He doesn't have a whole lot of fit to the story until you actually come across him. But he is a friend of Verso's. I get the feeling that he was probably a boyfriend to Clair. And then in the end, he ends up getting betrayed, like we all do, by Renoir. And that's why he's trapped down here in the Abyss. And why he's kind of given up on everything. But his whole motivation is to fight. And so when you come to him, he takes it as a challenge, and that's why he fights you. And so he's got a good story. He's got an interesting story, one that maybe through DLC or bonus content I would kind of like a little bit more fleshed out. Again, he is able to wipe you from the canvas, which is apparently a move that was given to him by Clair. So is this guy based on a real life person? Is this guy just a creation by Clair that got betrayed and confused and trapped by Renoir? Like, what exactly is this guy's story outside of what you get from the journal entry? So he would be a character that I would be very invested in learning more about. And if they, I've talked about this in my review, like if they want to go into more of the characters in this game and keep going in this world, I could actually, thinking about it now, I could actually probably get behind that, because there's a lot of stuff about this world that you don't know. My biggest qualm with the game was that this is not the real world. This is a fake world that a bunch of whiny fucking bitches just doesn't want to live in the real world, and so they created this fake world, and everything you do in this fake world doesn't really matter. But if they wanted to continue expanding on this world, the painted world, there are a few characters, Simon the most, that I would be interested in learning more about. The music is great, the environment is great. I actually really like the battlefield. You're in a place called the Abyss, and it looks just like that. I mean, it's all blacked out. You can see it here. It's all blacked out. There's a dark moon sun sitting there in the background, and it's just you guys and him in this infinite abyss. You see his journal entry and the rock that he's sitting on when you first see him kind of in the background. But for the most part, it feels like you're in an abyss. The music is fantastic. Starts off with this beautiful, melancholic, like little violin solo, and then as the battle progresses, you start adding in like organs and vocals, and it becomes a very, very moving, majestic, orchestral, grandiose piece as the fight goes along. And then and it really like emphasizes the intensity, but also the somberness of being trapped down here in the abyss. The music goes perfect with this fight. And again, the challenge, like I like a challenge. I'm a Dark Souls fan. One of the things that I like about Dark Souls is it is so challenging. And not just Dark Souls, Sekiro, Bloodborne, they're all, the whole From Software is tough. But like, again, it's fair. You just have to be patient with it. You have to, you have to practice. You have to remember what you're doing wrong and learn from it. And you just got to get a little bit lucky. Hopefully he does a bunch of the stuff that you can defend easily, and very few things that you can't. And so like I was trying to think of recent boss fights that would compare to something like this, and I brought up Weiss from Final Fantasy VII Intermission earlier. That was a fantastic fight. The Sephiroth fight in Final Fantasy Rebirth was a fantastic fight when it's just you and Cloud. Cloud and Aerith against Sephiroth, and he's doing all this crazy stuff going on. But you also have, I brought up Artorias because this is very much an homage to that guy. But you could also compare this to the Ganondorf fight in the Ganon fight in Tears of the Kingdom. It was another fantastic like little action RPG fight where you can't really use your counterattacks and stuff because Ganon is just as fast as Link, and so like it's just one of those fights that really makes the experience of the game feel good. And it gets to a point where, like, it puts all your skills to the test. Do you know how to play this game? And I've talked about this many times in different games. There's, Squaresoft is notorious for this. They have this one fight that you get to that's like, okay, you've managed to get this far. Do you know how to play this game? Can you put everything that you've learned to the test and really beat this game? And this is by far and away one of those boss fights. There really wasn't a moment in the game that the difficulty was considerably greater, in my opinion. Now, there were a few in our Xbox live streams, because I didn't really grind that much in that game. I did do, we did go around and we searched different paths and whatnot, but I didn't do a lot of the side stuff. I kind of focused more on the story. Whereas here, because I'm playing on PlayStation, I kind of focus more on the outside stuff, and so I was kind of over leveled as we were going through the live stream, the main story. And so there really wasn't, there were a couple of fights where it was like, okay, you're gonna have to use more parries now because we're teaching you how to use parries, where you're gonna have to use, certain pictos now because we're teaching you how the pictos work. But there really wasn't that one fight where it's like, okay, now we're gonna really put you through a test here. We're gonna, you've gone through this far, and now we're gonna up the difficulty significantly and see if you are ready to continue on. They didn't really have that in the main story. This fight in particular is that moment. It's like, okay, you've gone through everywhere. You've probably done the main story, most likely, because there's probably no way you're gonna beat this guy without at least having beaten Mother, the Paintress, and get it and got painted power before you get to this guy. Because I mean, Gommage is gonna do 5 million damage a spot, and I used it at least 4 or 5 times. So this dude's got a lot of health. But this is your come to Jesus moment right now. This is, you've got New Game Plus and everything. In my opinion, I think New Game Plus is more of a, I don't even know what I would call New Game Plus in this game, because you don't need to go into New Game Plus to get all the trophies and all the achievements and everything. You can do it in one playthrough. And so I feel like New Game Plus is for people that kind of went through the game without looking up anything, without doing a whole lot of adventuring around. And then once you beat the game, you do the New Game Plus, so you can do more exploration and whatnot. Go back and if you've missed any, although there's not many trophies that you can miss, even if you just kind of fast forward through the game. But they do have a New Game Plus for anybody who wants to continue playing it, which is not the end. I don't think it's a bad thing, it's kind of unnecessary in this game. And so this is your come to Jesus moment. This is, okay, you've done everything else. Do you really know how to play this game? Because we're going to throw everything we got at you. And so this puts it on an all-time tier fight for, in all of gaming. And, it was nice that they added this. I know there's a whole movement going around on Reddit that, everybody is sick of these kind of like incredibly difficult boss fights just to be incredibly difficult. But again, this is not one of those fights where I think it's, artificial difficulty. Yes, it does get progressively harder, and yes, it is significantly more difficult than any of the other fights in the game. But again, he telegraphs his moves a lot. If you are patient and you are well versed in what he's going to do and how his attacks move, you can very easily get away with fighting this guy, because he tells you what he's going to do before he does it every single time. And if you know what's coming, you stay and you remain calm and you remain relaxed, you can block everything. You can parry everything that he does, and you can get those counters. And now it's not going to happen every time, you know, but that's the challenge, right? That's the practice that comes into this fight. And so, you know, I just think everything about this fight ended up being really fun. And I don't think this qualifies as those kind of bullshit fights where, you know, they make it, oh, well, we're going to tie one hand behind your back just to make this more difficult. No, this doesn't feel like that to me. This feels like, hey, we're going to make a challenging enemy, but we're going to clearly show you what's coming up so you can prepare yourself. You just got to remain calm, steady-headed, and give it a few tries. And so, you know, the people that are kind of sick of this, everybody's got to make the hardest game ever, I think are kind of barking up the wrong tree. I don't think that fits the mold here. But I had so much fun fighting this guy. Maybe not at first. Maybe at first I was, oh, this guy's bullshit. This is fucking terrible. But again, just, you know, takes a lot of patience, a lot of practice. Just stay calm. Don't lose focus. And remember what you're doing. Remember what you're going for. That is the important thing. If you missed it, he did, you know, he wiped out my first team, and because I had my second team still is how I was able to continue this game. Now you can look it up online. I'm sure I did not because, you know, I'm not that kind of guy. But there is kind of a way that you can allegedly, there is a way that you can put a character together. With Mael, you can put a build together where she basically eliminates him before you even get to the third boss part of the boss fight. I didn't look that up because I can never get it to work. Apparently, a lot of people were saying that you know, you can use Minoko's. You can use Minoko's gradient attack to put him into break status, and then turn around and use Verso to keep him in break status with his Endbringer attack. But I could never get it to go in order. So it was always I'd use Minoko's gradient charge to put him into break status, and then it would be Simon's turn. So I could never get them to end up going back to back to get that to work. So again, there's many different ways that you can put yourself through this fight. You just got to find out the one that works best for you, and good luck. I had a ton of fun with this one, and you get a sweet Verso weapon at the end of it. But this was a very satisfying fight, and it really. You know, what I love most about these fights is the feeling of accomplishment. You know, you know you've really beaten the game when you beat a boss like this, and you know what you're doing. You know how to play this game, and you've actually developed these skills. And yeah, it's really good. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. I hope this helped a little bit, or at least was somewhat interesting. If it was, please give me that like, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell so you know I do drop a new video or go live, and keep on keeping on. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me, wishing YouTube that's you. Wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. As long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.